So I'm 26 years old, almost 27, and I have never been in a serious relationship. I never had a boyfriend, never been married. Even both my proms, I went to both of my proms by myself. I was never asked out, on a date to prom or anything like that. And this could be a red flag about me, but it just was never the right time. I just have never had anything go past the talking stage. It's just been like guys who either just didn't want to commit to me or it just didn't work out. So yeah, like even getting asked out on a date, like I haven't, like until recently, like I've never been asked out on a date before. For a while, I used to be upset about it because I was like, I feel like I'm missing out on something because, I never really experienced the whole like being in a relationship, and it's just a portion of my life that I supplement with friends and other things. My whole life, I have been single. I've never experienced the feeling of being in a relationship, having a boyfriend. I remember I talked about this when I was 19, and now I'm almost 27 talking about it. The situation still hasn't changed. So it's kind of good because it scares off people that aren't serious about me. But I do wonder sometimes, like, what it would be like to have a boyfriend. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never experienced it.
I have observed a few of your TikTok videos. It is unlikely that you will. Typically, the relationship or the dissolution of a relationship is the result of the inopportune timing. The reason you were not invited to the prom is entirely unrelated. I would be extremely appreciative if you could return to the channel. Leftover women are having a hard time finding love because men aren't interested in dating.
And reason number 5 million why the dating apps suck. I matched with a guy and he was like, oh, you're an attorney, I could use one of those, which has happened to me before. And usually it has something to do with like real estate or I don't know, their parents' will. And he was like, well, what kind of attorney are you? And I was like, oh, I do like corporate litigation, mostly in like the employment realm. And he was like, oh, that's not the kind of attorney I need. And I was like, well, what kind do you need? And he goes, well, a criminal attorney. And I was like, oh, cool. What? Why? And he was like, well, a guy punched me, so I punched him back and beat him up and then chased him down the road until the cops came, and then they arrested me for battery. And he was like, I can't believe they arrested me for battery. I pinned the guy down for them. And I was like, well, the law typically says, if you have the option to retreat, you're supposed to retreat, Like if a guy punches you, but like it's a wide open space and you can leave, you're supposed to leave. And or you're only supposed to like match any kind of force they bring at you, right? So like if they punch you, you can't just like beat them to a pulp and then chase them down the street while they're running away from you. Like if they are retreating, you can't follow them and chase them. And he was like, well, that's stupid. And I didn't really know where to go from there. So anyways, reason number 5 million why the dating apps suck. You might or might not match with a guy who's being charged with battery.
Let us further analyze this. The issue is not that dating apps are inherently flawed. Rather, it is that certain women are making poor choices in the males they swipe right on. The applications are functioning as intended, providing a diverse selection of potential companions. However, the same disappointing results will continue to occur if you continue to swipe right on the wrong sort of man. She is actively seeking out these alpha types in pursuit of the elusive excitement, but she is taken aback when the same alpha behaviors manifest in negative ways. It is akin to attempting to tame a lion and being taken aback when it attacks. If you desire the alpha, you will receive all of its associated benefits. Next, we will discuss this individual. He was forthright and candid, disclosing not only his prior transgressions, but also his necessity to defend himself. In my opinion, that is a positive indicator. Until you are profoundly involved, the majority of men will not disclose their past felonies or difficult periods. From the outset, this individual was forthright, and rather than acknowledging his honesty, she attempts to exploit it. The issue at hand is more related to her judgment than it is to the individual or the dating application. She had sufficient interest and connection to request a date with him. However, she is now behaving as though his honesty is a cause for concern. How does that even make sense? Is there no method for women to evaluate a male prior to agreeing to a date? Or are they simply disregarding their intuition and hoping for the best? I find it frustrating that in contemporary society, males are frequently prohibited from defending themselves without incurring retribution. This has resulted in a culture in which men are hesitant to speak up or take a position, thereby weakening American society. Numerous men would conceal their felonies until a significant amount of time had passed. However, this individual disclosed all of his information, and as a result, he was penalized for his candor. In general, men are uninterested in the type of lawyer a woman is, or the extent of her professional accomplishment. The qualities they prioritize are loyalty, compassion, and generosity.
From spending time with a couple of friends, and I feel so extremely drained. And I just feel like people will defend the norm to an extent that they don't even comprehend. Because the only thing that I said was that, you know, if you want to have children, you should want to, like, be a parent. You should want to have the...
Yes, I regret being that individual. However, it is entirely your responsibility. You permit yourself to engage in arguments with individuals who are intellectually challenged. Dumb individuals are the only ones who will defend a notion on which they do not even have an opinion. You are entirely correct. Parental necessitates the acquisition of parental abilities. It is highly probable that your friend was indoctrinated with the notion that she is a bossy woman who can achieve anything she sets her mind to. However, this is frequently not the case.
Well, I just got rejected by a guy, and this is the second time it's happened this year. You guys know that I'm looking for a man to spoil rotten, okay? And just let me know, be honest, if I overdid it a little too much. I cooked for him every single night, and if he didn't like the meal, I would make him something different. I bought him his favorite Lego sets because he felt bad buying them for himself because they're so expensive. I was a giver in every aspect of our relationship. I created a Spotify playlist of his favorite songs. I scratched his head and back and cuddled him. I was the big spoon. Every single night he came over to my house. I would send him cute messages every single morning telling him how much I appreciated him and how attractive he was to me. All for him to tell me that I was a little too much and suffocating him and really not his physical type, but he was really glad that he gave it a go. My therapist is gonna have a field day with this one. So yeah, I'm back on the market, so who wants to break my heart next?
Well, here's the thing. It is likely that the emotions did not adhere, which is an unfortunate occurrence and is a matter of chemistry over which you have no control. Alternatively, it was a trauma-avoidant response. The rate at which an individual establishes a relationship and experiences comfort is unique to them. He simply needs to identify the individual who aligns with his desired pace and approach to relationship development. It is probable that he is a Chad. However, males generally do not desire the commitment and drama that are associated with dating and being in a relationship with women presently. It is unsurprising that these women consistently select the same set of inappropriate males who contribute nothing but their chairs. I do not hold the Chads accountable. Rather, I fault the women who were drawn to superficial and bright objects because they believe that all that glitters is gold. Additionally, they frequently believe that all respectable males are monotonous. Their eyes are drawn to Chads, and they frequently succumb to their charm. Consequently, they are played and discarded. Chads blind them to the recognition of decent men after they have made a significant effort. This is the reason they do not observe good individuals. They only see Chads. Women frequently express their frustration with the challenge of locating a suitable partner. However, their decisions are the catalysts for these circumstances. They continue to pursue the same type of individual, who appears attractive on the outside, but lacks substance. These Chads possess the ability to play the game. They are adept at attracting women with their words and actions. However, they depart after they have had their fill of amusement, leaving these women bereft and perplexed as to how it all went awry. In the interim, the good men, who are sincerely interested in establishing a meaningful relationship and are loyal, kind, and approachable, are disregarded. In contrast to the flashy surface-level allure of the Chads, they are regarded as boring or unexciting. Many women are ensnared in a vicious cycle. What is even more frustrating is that these women frequently fail to learn from their errors.
Not ugly, and you won't be able to convince me that I'm ugly. Sorry, I had a post go viral talking about men, and the 99% of them who have experienced flirting got the joke, and the 1% remaining is trying to hit me with "you're an uggo." Guess what? It may have worked when I was 17. May have worked when I was 22, but I'm 34, baby. I'm in the sweet spot between youthful beauty and womanly confidence, and I know what I'm working with. I have no illusions. This is not for everyone. Not everyone's cup of tea. I went to a state college full of normie bros, and it did not get a lot of play, okay? However, I've been around long enough to know exactly who I am for. Dungeon masters. Love me. Gen X guys scanning the party for somebody to explain ska music to.
I apologize, but I am unable to accommodate your request. However, I appreciate the assurance. I never received that much exposure when I was 22 years old. However, given my youth, I believe I will continue to adhere to this. False. Additionally, you have experienced that youthfulness. It is imperative that you refrain from confusing an individual's interest in you with their conversation regarding music.
I've been pretty positive about being single and just knowing that when it's supposed to happen, it will happen. But then some days I have a day like today and I'm over waiting. Like I am just like it hurts my heart kind of. I want to just, and I know people are going to be like, you're so less stressed without men in your life, or like haven't missed out on anything, or you're not missing out on anything. And I totally get that everyone has different experiences. I've had awful experiences in the past. Just because I haven't been in a relationship doesn't mean I've been in situationships that have really screwed me up and made me put walls up. And I feel like I'm now getting to a stage in my life where I feel ready to be in a relationship, and I've done a lot of work on myself so that I feel like I can trust someone again and stuff like that. But then like some days I'm just sick of waiting. Like I am over it. I get really lonely, and I don't mean to like post this to be like, wow, look at me. I know there's other people that feel similar situations as me, and I don't know, sometimes I just get really in my head and I get super overwhelmed, and I wonder like, when is it actually going to happen for me? And it's one of those things that's like so out of your control that, I don't know, it's just like, I'm just sick of being alone. And it's been a really long time, and I think it doesn't help that I've just like lost a lot of people in my life recently, and it just feels like, it just makes me feel like I'm not worthy. I definitely need to book a therapy appointment, and I'm gonna do that, but I don't know. I think sometimes we see so much stuff on social media and on the internet, and it makes us feel even more isolated because we're constantly comparing ourselves. But I just wanted to remind you that if you also feel this way, you're not alone. I don't know wherever you are or what you're going through, but at least know that I'm in the trenches with you, and I am doing so much better in my life right now, just like mentally, physically. And I still have days where I feel really sad and I feel like this, and it's super frustrating. And I think, oh, I've been so happy lately, like, why is this happening? But this is just part of being a human. And I don't know. I just want to be as real as I can on social media, just because.
This woman is uncertain about her wishes. She consistently laments her status as a solitary individual. However, she should be aware that a beggar has no alternative, given the emotional baggage and lofty standards she carries. Instead of attributing her poor decisions to males or dating apps, she must resolve her own issues. Men owe her nothing, and it is time for her to cease portraying the victim in the online world. In all honesty, males are no longer approaching women because of the potential repercussions that may result. Many are no longer willing to accept this risk. Therefore, it is not our responsibility that you remain unmarried. Men have grown weary of being regarded as adversaries, which has contributed to the evolution of the dating scene. For years, males have been informed that we are not desired or required. And imagine what? We have heard. Although it necessitated some time, we have since embraced the message. This is the reason why a significant number of males are abandoning conventional dating. We have come to the realization that the tranquility of certain relationships are frequently preferable to the drama and burden that accompany them. It is not that men are apprehensive or reluctant to exert themselves. The issue is that the endeavor frequently appears to be one-sided. Men are weary of performing all the tasks, while women are content to complain. Why not begin the process of initiating? Rather than merely riding along, why not begin to plan and participate? If you are discovering that men are not reaching your expectations, it may be necessary to reevaluate those standards. Are you seeking a partner, or are you merely seeking someone to satisfy a fantasy? Due to the fact that no one is flawless, it is permissible to establish lofty standards. However, they must be feasible and feasible. Our daily conversation has concluded. We would be delighted if you would like and subscribe to this video if you are interested in viewing additional content of a similar nature. I am genuinely grateful for your consideration of this issue and hope that your day is replete with happiness.